Ridiculous. This league is so damn unprofessional. It's not even funny. You mean to tell me that you guys had fans paying for these like meet and greets or whatever it was, and you guys, some of y'all no-showed, just flat out no-showed. Some of y'all had the fans waiting in hours because you were coming hours and hours late because y'all was out with the stud buds getting drunk all night.
They don't think they need to go the extra mile. They don't even think they need to show up on time for fan meet and greet and autograph sessions, pretty much spitting in fans' faces. Fans who traveled maybe across the country to get that opportunity. Fans who maybe saved month after month after month after month to get enough money to buy a plane ticket, save enough money to get a train ticket, to get all-star tickets, to get a hotel, to get an opportunity to meet and greet some of their favorite players. There was one player that showed up to these meet and greets on time. There was one player that wasn't out the night before grinding in the club. There was one player that actually does go above and beyond. There's one player that actually does put in the extra work. There's actually one player that clearly doesn't feel entitled to the fans she has. She understands she needs to work for those fans that she has. She needs to
be fair, there were a few players who showed up on time to everything. Caitlin Clark in particular was very punctual for every obligation she had. She gave away her shoes, signed autographs, hugged fans, and competed hard in the All-Star game, where we bought 6 tickets at over $450 each. More than $2,700 for our family to be there, so nearly $3,000.
WNBA All-Star Weekend was supposed to be the one time all year when regular fans, the ones who actually pay for tickets, jerseys, and flights, got real access to the players they support. Instead, a lot of them walked away from Chicago with a very different story to tell, and it wasn't a flattering one for some of the league's biggest names.
I'm not saying you scamming the fans, but I'm like, yo, bro, people paying money, bro. Be more mindful of what people paying for, yo. Cause to watch y'all do all this other BS that y'all was doing, it don't even make no sense. Y'all shooting air balls, y'all missing wide open layups, like y'all literally showed that y'all didn't care.
Because while the league promised meet and greets, photo opportunities, and player appearances all weekend at WNBA Live presented by AWS, plenty of fans who actually showed up said the experience didn't match the promise at all. One recurring complaint that started circulating almost immediately involved fans who paid to get into a designated meet and greet area, only to be told once they got close that photos weren't actually allowed after all. Not a rule change nobody noticed, but a bait-and-switch happening in real time, with fans already standing in line holding their phones, expecting the exact thing the app told them they'd get.
Attended WNBA Live and waited in line over 2 hours to meet a couple of the top name athletes. They showed up 40 minutes late, signed autographs for 10 minutes, and left. This happened several times throughout the weekend. My children were in tears after waiting for hours only to be turned away. To be fair, there were a few players who showed up on time to everything. Caitlin Clark, in particular, was punctual for every obligation she had. She gave away her shoes, signed autographs, hugged fans, and competed hard in the All-Star game, where we bought 6 tickets at over $450 each, more than $2,700 for our family to be there. She clearly understands that fans can make or break a career, and she came across as a genuinely good person. I was deeply disappointed in several of the other players, showing up 40 minutes late and signing autographs for 10 minutes.
And that's really where this entire story starts. Not with one bad headline, but with dozens of small, frustrating moments fans started stitching together once they compared notes online afterward. A rushed signature here. A player who walks straight past a roped-off section without even glancing over. A sponsor booth appearance that lasted 10 minutes when fans had been told to expect 30. None of these moments individually would be a huge deal on their own.
All-Star is supposed to be a fan experience. You guys blew it, man. Y'all absolutely blew it. Chicago. I was just in downtown Chicago. Y'all saw me doing videos from a hotel room. I was in downtown Chicago for 4 or 5 days 3 weeks ago. And that wasn't All-Star weekend. And the hotels were expensive. I paid $1,500 for 3 days, I think. No, like 1,800 for 3 days. So I know these that like they're at nearly $3,000. That's not including flights, hotels, Ubers, food, nothing. And this is how the fan got treated. Ain't this some shit? Pardon the language. Like, come on, man. I mean, this is messed up. It's messed up.
But once they started piling up across the same weekend in the same city, involving some of the league's biggest names, fans stopped treating them as isolated incidents and started asking a much bigger question. Do some of these players actually care about the people funding their careers? Or is All-Star Weekend just another work obligation they're trying to get through as fast as humanly possible?
Abomination of basketball is what the WNBA All-Star game was.
All-Star games, though.
They have to treat it a little more serious. The MNBA needs to treat the All-Star game differently if you want people to care, and the W needs to treat the All-Star game differently if you want people to care. It all stinks.
It set the record for attendance.
I know, and those
All-Star.
19,000 fans deserved better. My one takeaway was, wow, how cool was it to see 19,000 fans stack the United Center to watch WNBA All-Star, and then the game itself was an abomination of basketball. Even Caitlin Clark during the game, while walking off with Holly Rowe, they were doing like a little side-by-side. She said, let's play a little bit. Let's play. Come on, everybody, let's play.
No.
By no means is this the most important thing in the world. It's another All-Star game. But if you're gonna have the All-Star game, I don't understand why you don't actually play.
Now, to be fair, All-Star Weekend is genuinely exhausting. Players are running between skills competitions, three-point contests, sponsor obligations, media days, and the actual game itself, all packed into a 72-hour window. Nobody's saying every single player owes every single fan an unlimited amount of their time and attention. That would be an unreasonable standard for anyone in any profession. But there's a real difference between being busy and being visibly checked out, and fans this year said they could see the difference immediately depending on which player happened to be standing in front of them.
This sounds like something that WNBA players would do every time if they had the ultimate divas, the ultimate diva athletes to ever exist. The most entitled athletes to ever exist, entitled, and they deliver a substandard product outside of CC22. You take another look. We were at WNBA Live Friday and Saturday. Almost everyone was 30 minutes late minimum. It was crazy. Caitlin was on time for...
Some fans described the exact same booth on the exact same day feeling completely different depending on who rotated through it. One player would crouch down, make eye contact, and ask a kid's name before signing something. The next player through would sign without looking up once, already scanning the room for the exit. That inconsistency is exactly what got people talking because it proved this wasn't just about scheduling pressure. If it were purely about time constraints, everyone would look equally rushed. Instead, some players clearly made a choice about how much of themselves they were willing to give, and others made a very different one.
Okay, here it says, saw this comment on YouTube claiming that the WNBA All-Star meet and greet, Caitlin was apparently one of the few players who showed up on time. If that's true, fans who paid to meet the players deserved better. They 1,000% deserved better. Everybody was out, too busy out, getting drunk, smoking weed, probably doing a couple bumps, lines of coke, all types of stuff. Y'all was out doing everything. It turned it into Freaknik.
Which brings us to Caitlin Clark, because her weekend looked almost nothing like the complaints everyone else was posting. Fans documented her giving away a pair of her own shoes to a lucky fan after a game. And this wasn't even the first time she'd done it this season. She'd already pulled the same move back in April after a preseason win over New York. Then, during All-Star Weekend itself, she went a step further and told fans they could actually go hunt down hidden pairs of her unreleased Nike signature shoes scattered around Chicago, turning a simple gesture into a full weekend scavenger hunt built specifically around her own fan base.
Guys, don't lean over, okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Think about what that actually means logistically. Somebody in Clark's camp had to plan that out ahead of time, coordinate directly with Nike, figure out drop locations around the city, and build an entire experience around fans instead of just showing up, signing a stack of items for 15 minutes, and heading straight to the car. That's not the behavior of someone treating her fan base as an afterthought squeezed in between sponsor commitments. That's someone who seems to actually sit down and think about what would make the weekend memorable for the people who paid real money to be there.
I'm curious, did you hook up any teammates or anybody with the shoe? Or I mean,
Courtney Williams is rocking them tonight, which, like, I've had multiple people ask for them. I only have size 9 right now, so they're actually playing in my samples.
that's actually my size too.
Both the stud buds have them on. Both the stud buds have them on. So, yeah, this is a pretty fun pair, and you're looking at, I think it's like Valentine's Day edition. You got the charm on there, but I was going to wear some all-white ones. I'm like, that's not fun enough. We got to break out some fire.
So cute with the color. The ombre matches the jersey.
And that contrast is exactly what set fans off this past week. Because it's one thing for a rookie or a deep bench role player to be a little awkward with crowds, still learning how to handle attention nobody prepared them for. It's another thing entirely when some of the league's most recognized, highest-paid stars are the ones getting called out for treating paying customers like an inconvenience, while the player getting the most media scrutiny of anyone in the entire league is also, by a wide margin, the one going furthest out of her way to make fans feel like they actually matter to her. Some players showed up to these paid, scheduled appearances looking noticeably worn down, and not in the ordinary, long season, tired legs way athletes usually look after a grinding stretch of games. People online started describing certain appearances as looking closer to hungover than tired, pointing to slow, sluggish energy, minimal eye contact with fans, and a visible lack of enthusiasm that stood out badly against how upbeat these same events are normally supposed to feel.
We gotta get T up, chat. The ice on the head is iconic right now, Core. Chat, look at her. Look at her. Look at her, chat. Wakey, wakey, lemon bakey.
All-Star Weekend has developed a reputation over the last couple of years as one of the biggest party weekends on the entire WNBA calendar. Players from across the league fly into whatever host city gets picked and treat the Friday and Saturday nights as an unofficial league-wide celebration, complete with after-parties, sponsor mixers, and late-night appearances that spill well past midnight. That's completely normal. Athletes in every professional league on Earth do the exact same thing during their All-Star breaks, and nobody should expect otherwise. The problem only becomes a real problem when the partying starts visibly bleeding into paid obligations the very next morning, in front of fans and sponsors who showed up expecting a certain baseline level of energy and didn't get anywhere close to it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pedro. Good morning. We are back and we're better. We're actually not better.
Water with electrolytes.
Where's the electrolytes?
Water infused electrolytes. Damn, I look cool.
Yeah, I told you this morning you didn't look great. Where's your iPad?
Look at this. She lit.
Good morning. Spoon.
I hate you.
Okay, guys, we'll be back.
And that's really the core of why this whole story blew up the way it did this week. It's not really about one player being rude, and it's not really about one bad meet and greet that could easily be written off as a fluke. It's about a pattern fans think they're seeing, where a chunk of the league's biggest names treat fan interaction as a chore to survive, rather than a part of the job actually worth showing up for. While the one player facing the most pressure, the most media attention, and arguably the least room for error, kept finding small, genuine ways to make fans feel like they got their money's worth out of the weekend.